Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a sort of Walking Dead kind of predictions theory type video. Been seeing in the comments a little bit lately people thinking, hey, what if this new group, the Wolves, that we've kind of seen the start of in The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 9, the Wolves not far, we saw, I've shown you guys it a few times in some videos. What if they are actually the Scavengers? And if you guys missed my video on giving my thoughts on the Scavengers from the Walking Dead comic book series, I'm going to put the link right here. I'll put it on the screen, top left for you guys, annotation to it, so you can find out about this group from the Walking Dead comic book series. But basically, this is the next group of villains we should be encountering, and I can't believe it didn't hit me sooner, but obviously this is the leader of the Scavengers right here from the Walking Dead comic book series around this time range, a little bit in the future. And his line, of course, as he says here to Rick, as Rick is wearing his police officer uniform, since he's in a new community, and his position in the new community is to do what he normally does, is be a police officer, before the zombie apocalypse, of course. So as this character and his group approaches the group that Rick is a part of at this time, he basically says this right here. He says, "Isn't that obvious? Little pig, let me in." Of course, pig referring to officer, so it has a double meaning. But in addition to that, who would say something like that? Little pig, let me in, or I'll blow your house down. The big, bad wolf. Yeah, so it fits perfectly. That's the best theory I've heard of so far of what this whole wolves thing is about, or what it is. Another thing I was curious of, because we've got the wolves not far now in the episode 9. Now, is that referring to people as a group called the wolves, or is that referring to actual wolves, which we know we're going to be seeing in episode 10 them tomorrow night? And so I did some research, and I kind of was wondering, is it possible for a person to actually train a wolf to be subservient? So to actually have like a pet wolf or wolves, like even a group of them. And according to Wikipedia and Google, it is possible to train wolves sort of like dogs, and have them as pets and have them be subservient to you. Now, that said, wild wolves, I don't know how good of pets they're going to be. I don't know how subservient they're going to be, and if they're going to listen. I'm sure a dog is a lot less dangerous, and well, most dogs, depending on what kind of dog you have, if you have a pit bull or a Rottweiler or something, maybe that's not the case. But in most cases, dogs are probably much better pets than wild wolves would be. That said, it is totally possible. Now, not for sure. I mean, the group could just call themselves the Wolves, and just because there happens to be wolves in that location. So we may not see Derek, who's the big bad wolf, as we can think of him now, in the next episode, in episode 10. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't see anyone from his group. Maybe we'll just see a pack of wolves come through, and Rick and the others kind of see them, because there could be them in the terrain. And possibly, I don't know, Derek and the others decided they're going to call themselves the Wolves because they're like a wolf pack that attacks surviving groups and communities and takes what they have. Also, if you remember seeing Shirewilt Estates, or Shirewilt, in the state that it was in, it had to have been done by people. There's no way that zombies could blow up houses and do things like that, with big, firearms or grenades or whatever they actually, the wolves, used to break the place down and pretty much kill everybody. And you got the W's on the head of the zombies, so possibly that's part of their thing too, is they like to, after they kill, maybe if a surviving group doesn't let them in or something, maybe they do that to them. Maybe they kill them and leave them there with a W on their forehead but no arms or legs, just to suffer. I mean, if you think about that, that's a pretty cruel fate, to be a zombie, not have your arms or legs to even be able to move, and just constantly just like there, just not dead, but you'd want to die at that point. Can you imagine like being in a trunk of a car for that long? Even in zombie brain mode, that would still be torture, just to decay in the sun and everything. It just would suck. So it's a great theory, and I want to thank you guys who mentioned it in the comments. There was a good number of you, but it makes perfect sense. Derek, the leader of the Scavengers, must be the big bad wolf. Is little pig, let me in, or I'll blow your house down. It's got to be it. So we'll see how it goes. It's just kind of a predictions theory video, but it definitely fits better than any other explanation I've heard so far, and makes a lot of sense to me. So I wanted to put it out there for you guys. Let's do a few Q&A answers for you guys' questions. But let me know for sure what you guys think about that one. Write it in the comments below of what you think of the Scavengers being this new group, the Wolves, and them kind of changing their name, which is good because the name Scavengers is kind of like anybody's a scavenger if they're trying to get food from others and do what these guys do. So the Wolves, cool, really cool. Yeah. Okay, first question's from BuiBo, and he says, "Hey Trev, question for the Walking Dead Q&A. You keep saying that they could have expanded the second half of the season by showing us the group's journey, and that it was too early to kill Tyreese off. But I was thinking that maybe this is because they have so much planned for this season that they couldn't waste episodes on random stuff. Also, in the trailer, it states that this is the best season ever, which backs this point up even more." Well, good point. Yeah, very true. Maybe they just wanted to kind of blast through the character death, because also there's other considerations to take into account here as well, right? Because you have the amount of survivors, the amount of actors. It's not like the comic book series where you just draw in as many as you want. You could have a community of 100 people in the comic book series, and it's no problem. But with a TV series, you do have your payroll, right? You got to pay every actor who's in every episode. So, as a result, it does kind of make sense to possibly kill off characters at certain times to kind of keep the roster small. We've seen a lot of episodes where we probably could have had a lot more survivors, in one place than we did, and we saw very limited amounts to kind of restrict the amount of actors involved, which I believe that's for cost reasons. However, I could be wrong, right? But that's a good point. I mean, we'll have to see. They do state that it's the best season ever, and I will say that it is so far at this point my second favorite season so far, I think. Well, it's hard to tell because season 4 was really good too with Too Far Gone. But definitely season 5 had the strongest start of any season. And you could be right. We'll have to see how it all ends up if this new group of villains, the Wolves, are done really well in the TV series, which it looks like they're going to expand upon because we never saw any kind of wolf connection in the comic book series to the Scavengers aside from what he said. Right, and it looks like they're probably going to be giving us some more, unique qualities to those villains, if that's where they're going. That it could end up being, an amazing season. Plus, they would have had to build the whole new, community and everything that Rick and the others are going to join. There's other things that are really expensive. Like imagine that they have to build a whole community, and the cost of putting that all together and building the houses and building the gates or fences or whatever it is. It could become very expensive very quick. I would have liked to see a little bit more from the premiere. I kind of like to think that premieres should start off and kind of wow us and kind of get us into it with fun factor. That's generally, you can have some kills, some deaths, and that kind of thing, but the climactic sadder episodes, The Grove, the one we saw, episode 9, I tend to think those are best mid-season, not right at the beginning. Just my preference, though. I can see if you guys like that. I just think it's nice to kind of have a build-up and then boom, a death, and then a little while, and then boom, another one. That said, we have a lot of survivors, so maybe we're going to see a lot of deaths coming soon. Who knows, right? We'll have to wait and see. But I definitely didn't expect it, and unpredictable is good too, right? So that's my answer to you, BuiBo. You could be right. We'll see. We'll address it at the end of the season. We'll do another video, and we'll talk about that at that point, whether or not it was the best season ever. So I'll give you my thoughts anyway, and everyone's got their own opinion. But I'll give you mine once the season's actually done. Next one's from MeatCat642, and he or she says, "Hey Trev, potential discussion topic question for Q&A. How do you think Noah ended up all the way down in Atlanta at the prison if he was all the way in Virginia?" The way he described it when we met Beth in Slabtown, saying it had walls and everything, what could have driven him and his dad 500 miles south to Atlanta? I don't know. Maybe they heard the broadcast about Terminus. I don't know. Who knows, man? I didn't. Was there more to that? See, maybe I should have watched these episodes again before this half season started because I was watching some of the older ones you guys saw with the 7 Days of Dead and that, right? I don't really remember too much about the specifics of what he said. If they were looking for another family member or something, like his uncle or something, didn't he say? Wasn't there something about that? I don't remember exactly, man, to really answer that question too well. Sorry, but yeah, 500 miles in a zombie apocalypse is a long way. Maybe they were having a lot of trouble and they were hoping that if they traveled down there, they could find somebody they knew, like his uncle or something of the sort. But yeah, I don't remember too much, man. Sorry. I was so focused on what was happening with, the deaths and Beth and everything, and I didn't focus too much on Noah because you never know how long a new character's gonna be there for, especially one that's never been in the comic book series, right? You almost think that they might get killed off as soon as they show up, like Oscar or Axel, who was in the comic book series. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? You never know if someone's gonna last or not. So and how close to pay attention in that. Next one's from Storm Shadow, and he says, "Hey Trev, I was wondering if animals could turn into zombies like humans. I know there are dogs in Resident Evil and hellhounds in Nazi zombies." I guess so, yeah. Zombie kennels, right? Do you think we will see any of this in The Walking Dead, or do you think they'll go a different route with the wolves and dogs? Thanks, man. You're awesome. Well, thanks, man. You're awesome too. I don't think we'll see anything like that ever in The Walking Dead. No. I've never seen in the comic book series any kind of zombie animals or anything. And it could make sense why the wolves that we're going to see this weekend are still alive, because wolves can survive in the wild anyway, but they can easily outrun zombies. Zombies will never catch them unless they are able to catch them totally by surprise, in which case their senses of living in the wild and everything, sneaking up a zombie, it's are we going to see a Tyreese wolf type situation, like a little teenager zombie get a wolf? I doubt it. I just doubt it. They're too quick and all the way down, down low to the ground and everything. They're tricky, man. We saw that dog in, what was it, season 4, right? That was at the house, remember? With Daryl and Beth. So dogs and wolves, good survivors, and they might be able to eat zombies, right? Like, let's say you had a zombie like Bicycle Girl that was just on the ground. Could a wolf or a dog just chow down and not get infected? Maybe, right? Probably, unless it's dirty meat or something, in which case they might get bacteria or something. But I don't think that it affects the zombie apocalypse virus or whatever it is that Jenner talked about. We're all infected, right? I don't think that affects animals. I don't think so. Next one's from Giacomo the Lad, and he says, "Hi Trev, I have another question that I've been meaning to ask about Morgan. How do you think Morgan will be reintroduced into the group when they've traveled 500 miles away from Atlanta now? It's not like he can follow them in a car too, by the sounds of it. He's a few weeks behind them, so I can't see how he'd be able to locate them now. They've moved such a distance. I know he has a rough idea about Washington, but is it likely we could see him get there in season 6, a few months after Rick and the others have been there? Or is it more likely we'd get another big time skip, so the last episode is more concentrated on him getting to Alexandria?" I think that it's all predictions, right? I don't have any inside info or anything, but based on them kind of showing him here and there, I tend to think that we might see him in a big episode, like a finale or a premiere, something like that. The end of this season would be perfect because they've been teasing it for a while, right? So if he came at the end of the season, they could do one episode or maybe 2 or 3 with Lenny James, right? Or they could just have him show up maybe at the very end or something. I think that'd be really awesome. But you might be right. We could be looking at season 6 if they have enough to fill out this second half. Then they would probably move him to season 6. But I tend to think that he will reunite with the group at the end of this season. Maybe that has something to do with them thinking it's the best season ever. Which, well, BuiBo said above in a previous question, they might have a lot of other stuff planned, and him coming into the group might be part of that. Because I feel like he elevates the episodes, he elevates the season when he's in it. At least I personally do, because he's an old school character that we saw at the very beginning. Lenny James' acting is incredible, and he's got such an interesting, different point of view on things and strategy and dark, his dark view that I can't wait to see him again. So hopefully by the end of this season, but you're right. In terms of realistic, in zombie apocalypse, realistically, he would lose their trail totally once they get in a car. Once they're in a car and they drive for an hour, he's totally lost them, right? There's no way you can track, at least I don't think you'd be able to track a vehicle, unless you had one yourself or so, I don't know, unless you just follow roads and try to figure where they might go. That's about it. But he found the map to Washington, so I'm assuming that he's going to go there if the group decides, which it looks like they're going to, or they already have kind of, to go to Washington, as Rick said with Michonne. Then they could, if they're going towards the same place, they could use the same roads. They could run into each other. It is possible. It's just, you're right, it might not be the most realistic thing, but it's a TV show too. We want to have a nice story also, right? Unpredictable, realistic, or a nice story, trade-off. Which do you want to go with? I like somewhere in the middle, have a little of both. And that's kind of what The Walking Dead is. So yeah, that's it for these questions for today's, guys. Tomorrow, I think we'll do another Q&A. Send me whatever questions you guys have. And we'll start with what would have happened if Tyreese had killed Martin. Would it have changed things? Of course, going off of episode 9 and what they were talking about, the hallucination Martin was talking about, I'm going to give my thoughts on would it have changed things one way or another. Would there be different deaths, different situations? We'll talk about the ripple effect. And if you guys like this video, please do me a favor. Really appreciate it if you guys can thumb it up. It just helps the health of the channel and everything. And this week and everything. Again, thank you guys for all of your support. Everyone who, what you did. You guys are amazing. Love you guys so much. You're awesome. And so if you want to share it, favorite it, like it, would really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you guys back tomorrow for the next one. As always, it's Trev saying peace.